This is the sound of the 97th bomb high over Tunisia, February 1st, 1943. 10 men, encased in aluminum and steel, on their way to hit a target in enemy territory. For the crew of the B-17F Flying Fortress named All-American, this was just another mission. Top turret gunner. Fighter, 3 o'clock high. He's coming in fast. What happened next was not a dogfight. It was a collision, a head-on, full-speed meeting of two machines, one American, one German, that should have ended in a single catastrophic fireball. But it didn't. When the metal stopped screaming and the dust settled inside the cockpit, the pilots looked back and saw the sky. Where the back of their plane should have been, there was nothing, just empty, freezing air, 20,000 feet above the ground. Their bomber had been torn in half, and yet it was still flying. Welcome to top-tier TV. In the annals of World War II aviation, there are stories of courage, of sacrifice, and of luck. And then there are stories that defy every law of physics and probability. The story of the All-American is one of those stories. It's a tale of a bomber that suffered damage so severe it was considered impossible to fly. It's a tale of a crew that refused to die, navigating a ghost ship back to safety. This isn't just a war story, it's a testament to the ruggedness of the B-17, the skill of its pilots, and the sheer, unyielding will of 10 men to see one another home. The All-American was assigned to the 414th Bomb Squadron. Her pilot was Lieutenant Kendrick R. Bragg, Jr., a calm and capable leader. His co-pilot was Lieutenant Harry S. Nessel. Together with 8 other crewmen, gunners, a navigator, a bombardier, they formed a tight-knit team. Their mission that day was to bomb the German-controlled docks and marshalling yards at Bizerto, Tunisia. The sky was thick with flak, and German fighters were a constant threat. Among them was Oberleutnant Max Simon of Jagdgeschwader 53, piloting a Messerschmitt Bf-109. Simon was a skilled and aggressive pilot. He chose a high-side head-on attack, a tactic meant to split the formation and target the vulnerable cockpits of the bombers. He dove on the All-American, his cannons blazing, but his timing was fatally off. He was going too fast. He couldn't pull up in time. The Bf-109's left wing sliced into the rear of the B-17 like a guillotine, shearing through the fuselage just behind the radio room. The German fighter disintegrated instantly, its tail section cartwheeling away. On board the All-American, the world ended. The rear section of the fuselage, containing the tail gunner's position, was simply gone. Inside the remaining forward section, chaos. The force of the collision had been apocalyptic. The radio operator, who had been in his compartment, was miraculously spared by inches. He was now exposed to the open sky, clinging to the ragged edge of a disintegrated airplane. The tail gunner, Sergeant Samuel T. Sarpoulos, was presumed dead, lost with the entire tail section. The aircraft was mortally wounded. It should have immediately entered an unrecoverable dive, its structural integrity shattered, but it didn't. Lieutenant Bragg and Nessel fought the controls. The plane was still flying, but it was a nightmare to handle. It was tail-heavy, wanting to stall. It yawed violently to the left. The 2 vertical stabilizers of the tail were gone, making directional control nearly impossible. They were flying a wing with a cockpit attached, a grotesque parody of an aircraft. Yet the mighty Wright Cyclone engines on the wings kept running. The main wing spar, the backbone of the B-17, had held, and in that there was a sliver of hope. The crew, battered and in shock, performed a miracle of airmanship. The ball turret gunner was trapped. The mechanism to rotate him back in was destroyed. They had to manually crank him up, an agonizingly slow process, while the plane flew on, vulnerable. The waist gunners, now with a 180-degree view of nothing but sky, helped stabilize the wreck by shifting their weight. They couldn't jettison the bombs for fear of hitting friendly forces below. They flew on, a ghost of a plane, every second a gamble with gravity. For an hour, the All-American limped towards the nearest friendly base, a British airfield at Bone, Algeria. They had no radio, no way to signal their condition. As they approached the field, they fired emergency flares, a universal signal of distress. What the ground crews saw rolling out of the sky defied belief. A B-17, missing its entire tail section, looking like a carcass picked clean by vultures. It was, for all intents and purposes, already a wreck. But Lieutenant Bragg performed a landing of sublime skill. Without a tail, he had to approach at a much higher speed to maintain control. He touched down gently, and as the plane slowed, the remaining fuselage settled onto the runway. It was over. They had made it. When they climbed out and saw the damage from the ground, the true scale of their miracle dawned on them. The fuselage was severed just behind the waist gunner positions. It was held on by little more than the main wing spar and a few strips of metal skin. And then, another miracle. The tail gunner, Sergeant Sarpoulos, was found alive. He had been knocked unconscious during the collision and had been cradled in the severed tail section as it fell. He regained consciousness, pulled his parachute ripcord, and landed safe, becoming a prisoner of war. He survived the war. The All-American never flew again. It was chopped up for scrap, but its crew, all 10 of them, survived. The story of the All-American is more than a story of a tough airplane. It's a story of the unbreakable bond between a machine and its crew. The B-17 was nicknamed the Flying Fortress for a reason, and on that day, it lived up to its name in the most dramatic way imaginable. It's a story that forces us to consider the thin line between tragedy and miracle. What single factor was most responsible for their survival? Was it the robust design of the B-17, the incredible piloting skill of Bragg and Neussel, the disciplined teamwork of the entire crew, or was it simply a fate that refused to let them die that? We have a thoughtful community here at Top Tier TV, and we want to hear from you. What do you think was the decisive element in this incredible story of survival? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. If this story of courage, resilience, and sheer impossibility left you in awe, then please help us share these forgotten tales. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are dedicated to bringing you the most gripping, well-researched stories from history's front lines. Tap the bell icon so you don't miss our next journey into the past. Thank you for watching. Remember the plane and remember the men.